Good morning. It's Wednesday. It's just after 10 o'clock. I'm going to kick this on the FM. I'm going to have a guest. He's going to be introduced here in a bit, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to be talking to the entrepreneur. If you are an entrepreneur, if you've ever wanted to start a job or chase a dream, this is going to be for you. So go ahead and share this out. If you're watching on social media, go ahead and share this out if you're going back and listening on a podcast platform. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy. It's 10:04 on a Wednesday, and I have a brand new friend who's going to be hanging out with us this morning, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
I'm great, Gardy. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Can you let everybody know what's your name and what do you have going on? I think you have a lot going on.
Yeah, I think you could fairly say that. My name is Mike Watts, and I'm a local, actually sixth-generation Texan. I'm through and through an entrepreneur, and I guess I'm known for having 3 consecutive multi-million-dollar startups where I've taken ideas and brought them into the marketplace and put them on shelves of Walmart stores. And you know, I'm always trying to find a way to make people's lives better and to build a business around it. Our latest invention is called the LoveHandle. You might have seen it. It's a low-profile smartphone grip that you can put on the back of your phone and use to share some love with the world. So
that's awesome. So whenever you say a startup, that means it's a brand new idea. It's just a concept. It's an idea, and then you start it from the beginning up to multi-million-dollar business and company. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
That doesn't seem like it's easy to do, because if it was, everybody would be doing it.
Right,
How do you do that 3 times in a row?
Well, I tell people it's a lot of mindset, and understanding sort of the journey that you're on and not thinking that there's any sort of get rich quick path that exists, not one that's really worth doing. So just know that it's going to be a journey and that there's going to be challenges that come up that you'll have to get through. There'll be disappointments and things aren't going to go the way you think they're going to go. And your product's probably going to change and evolve away from the way you originally thought that it was going to be. But if you persevere and you keep pushing through and you have a product that shows sincere, genuine value to the audience that you're going for in your customer base, then you will find success.
How do you know if you have a good idea or if the idea is bad? Because I have a lot of ideas. Most of them are bad. Some of them are good, but I have to find somebody to tell me that, because in my head, I'm like, this is a genius idea, right? How do you know?
Well, people come to me all the time with their ideas, and I love that. I love to hear people's, because normally it's something around a problem that was in their life, and they said, okay, well, if I made this product, it might make my problem go away or be better at least. So I love hearing these ideas, and there's a big difference between an idea that is good for you to make one and use for your particular situation, and an idea that's going to translate into becoming a business and something that's going to be able to sustain itself and cover overheads and marketing dollars and everything else. And I have a list of criteria that I kind of take people through to help them assess whether their idea is a hobby or a business.
Okay. Can we learn a little bit about you, Mike? You're from Angleton, right?
That's right. Class of 93, dating myself there. So
yeah. So I'm from Angleton too. And I remember there was another entrepreneur who was like, hey, have you heard about, the LoveHandle? And I was like, no. And he had mentioned that he had done some kind of a mentorship under you, and you had helped him, on his journey to being in business. And I immediately went and friend requested you, and I was like, man, he's from Angleton, which I'm from Angleton too, and that's where my family's from. I was like, oh, that's cool, because I don't run into people from Angleton every day. You know what I mean? I live in League City now, and I'm guessing you live in Houston, work out of Houston, but so you're from Angleton. Where did you go from? Like, where'd you go to after that?
Yeah, so the journey took me up to College Station first. Well, I went to Brazosport College, the local community college there.
Yeah.
Got a year and a half under my belt, and 60 hours, and transferred in as a junior at A&M. It took me a good 3 more years to get out of the next 2 years of schooling there. So kind of took my time, but I ended up graduating and took my first job that I was offered, and lived in corporate America for the next 7 years. I was an engineer. I worked for the electric company for Houston Industries at the time, became Reliant, and then Centerpoint Energy, and moved over to public relations because I liked to talk so much, and they figured they just gave me a microphone and had me send me out into the community to do good. But along the way, I just had this desire to do more, to allow my, for our family. It was a goal for us to be able to allow my wife to stay home and raise our kids without a second job or a second income. And so we were going to be a single income family. We had to find ways to make that work. And so we started a side hustling at home and garden shows, selling whatever we could sell and trying to just supplement that income. And then that's where we started coming across patented products that we could really build a business around.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, it went from a startup to a multi-million-dollar business, and then you just did it again and again.
Yeah, our first product was called the Pivot Trim. It was an aftermarket weed eater head. So for all the weekend warriors that have ever fought with their weed eater spool and tried to wind the line on, we partnered with the inventor that had patented a great way to do that, to design a head. And so we made a universal head. Back in the early 2000s, we were selling it on late night television, and eventually got it into Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, and became the #1 selling weed eater head in the world. And then we sold the company in 2011.
What was your second company? What was the second startup?
It's called Tree Stake Solutions. I actually still run it today, and I love this. I'm a big tree nut, and so this product is called the Root Anchor, and it's an underground tree stake. It allows you to plant a tree, stabilize it, even in the crazy winds, hurricane winds or whatever, stabilize a newly planted tree without anything above the ground. Nothing to see, nothing for kids to get hurt on. So it's a completely subterranean tree anchoring system. And it's been adopted by a lot of cities, major sports complexes, even the hallowed grounds of Texas A&M, where they rebuilt Kyle Field, has got our product holding all those trees down.
See, that is a really good idea, because at my house, I have trees that were planted, and they put the metal, or I don't know what it is, just the wrapped wire. Yeah, but I don't know how to get that out of the ground. Like that's my issue. It's just like cutting into the tree. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not really that handy when it comes to stuff,
Right. They don't hand you over a manual and say, you need to take, because really, if you're going to do that system, you should take it out in about 6 months before it starts to, the bark starts to grow around and it starts to encapsulate. And what people don't know, so they leave them there. And then once those things get stuck in the ground, it's like the sword and the stone. You just can't hardly get them out, because the roots actually grow around the poles there. And so you end up with an eyesore and, public danger. And so but that industry is hard to change, because people, it's a commercial industry and they've been doing it this way. And that's the way they do it, because they've always done it this way. Mm-hmm. And so we've been at that one now for going on 8 years. And it's just now finally starting to catch some momentum.
Wow. Can we learn about the LoveHandle? I love the name, and I guess where the idea came from, and how you got to where you are today with it.
Yeah, I was actually through this. It was brought to me by a friend that had seen it at a craft fair and thought it was a cool idea. And sure enough, got one on my phone on a Friday evening. By Saturday, I was in love with it. I was laying on the couch holding my phone above my head, going, "Oh my goodness, I'm never going to drop my phone on my face again. This is great." By Monday, I'm on a flight to go meet the inventor. And by Friday of that week, we had a full exclusive license to all the patents that he had filed for. And we began our partnership, which is great, because the inventor gets to go back to the workshop, inventing the next version, which we have a new version that's going to come out this fall. It's amazing. Kickstand feature and a lot of cool magnetic functions. But, none of that would have been possible without the right kind of partnership and then taking action. I mean, it was 7 days from the time I was introduced to the product till I owned the rights to it. And I had the resources to move on it. And I had the vision to see that this was something that was universal. It was going to be like the criteria I talked about earlier, where, it's going to solve a problem. It's relevant for a lot of people. It's easy to demonstrate, easy to manufacture. And to that end, we partnered with the inventor to develop the automation equipment so that we can manufacture our product 100% in the USA. It's all made right here in Rose Sharon at our headquarter facility. And we have 26 full-time employees, about half in manufacturing, half in admin and marketing.
I would say that's pretty rare, to have something made super local like that, and it's all made in the United States. It
is, and now it's becoming a kind of a hot topic. It's something that we've stood around and believed in for a very long time, but it's nice. It gives us a lot of flexibility because, if you're going to compete with China, you're going to need to be able to do it in a different way than just price. And so for us, we can produce short batch. In fact, it's a great example. Yesterday, We made these yesterday morning. They say love, right?
Mm-hmm.
We made 500 of them. We went up to the walk, the memorial walk in Houston, and we gave up 500 of those. And it just allows you to be relevant and on point. So if you have a business and you want to put your logo and have a trade show this weekend, we can make them for you and you can give them away. But we can also stay on trend and then create fundraisers like this that we're doing to help share the love with the world too.
Yeah, and that turnaround is super quick. You have an idea, hey, let me see it. I need 500. Let's go. Instead of having to wait to place an order in China, have it shipped over on a boat or however.
Right.
That's awesome. With that business, I had seen you have done some work with Damon John from Shark Tank. Can you explain how did that relationship come to be?
Yeah, well, being an entrepreneur, I remember when they first started Shark Tank on TV, I said, well, this is it. Here's my chance to go be on TV and, pitch my product and make a deal with one of these sharks. And I'd actually keyed in on either Damon John or Mark Cuban that I wanted to partner with.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had my pitch. We actually auditioned 2 different times and made it to the second round of auditions. But the third round would have got us on set, but we never made it that far, 2 years in a row. But not to be dismayed, I actually was watching my website and I saw that a company called the Shark Group had ordered our product from our website. Did a little research, figured out that that's Damon John's company in New York City. We started sending a lot of product there. I started printing his latest book title on it and some with the Shark Group. Next thing you know, everybody in the office is in love with it. A few months go by, I get a phone call. He's super impressed with me, with the product, with the idea of it all. And he said, I don't normally do this, but maybe we can work out a deal outside of Shark Tank. And just because I like you and the product so much. And it took a little while to work that deal out, but we did. And so now we're partners with a shark without actually stepping on the set.
That's cool. I love Shark Tank. I love seeing people come in, and I'd always wondered how that process goes as far as like getting on the show and then pitching your idea. It has to be nerve-wracking, even the auditions like 1, 2, and 3. How was that for you?
It was very nerve-wracking. The auditions we went to were in Las Vegas. We were there for the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES. And for 2 mornings, they have open auditions, but you have to get there really early to get a wristband. So I got there at 4 a.m, thinking I would be ahead of everybody. There was already 100 people in line.
Wow.
But I was able to get a wristband, and then we went and pitched the producers. And it was kind of interesting. The producers, their advice was that, imagine you don't actually have a product. So because so many people focus on just the product, but really you got to understand that this is not a product show. It's a television show. It's a show that people want to see a story. And there's tell us a story that might also include a product. And so for anybody out there that wants to be on Shark Tank, keep that in mind. Understand that you're going to have to tell a story that's interesting, some sort of backstory, some emotion would be good, but then also have a business that's relevant and acceptable for the platform.
And I feel like you're also selling yourself, because the sharks are saying, am I going to be able to be compatible with that person? Can I work with them? Are they going to be open to suggestions or advice as well?
Yeah, you got to choose your partners wisely. And the reality is sort of the behind the scenes there is what we see on TV is an edited down version, right? Most of the pitches are Damon talks about this a lot. They're between 30 minutes and 2 hours long per pitch. And they'll edit that down, but then afterwards, even if they make a verbal deal, there's nothing binding. Mm-hmm. So at that point, then the lawyers get involved and the research, the due diligence, and they say about 50%. I don't know for sure. They don't publicize that, but around 50% of the deals actually close that we see that made a deal on the tank.
I got you. Yeah, because sometimes I always wondered that as well, so that makes sense. I want to talk about COVID-19 and being an entrepreneur. During this time, owning a business for a lot of people has been very tough because they aren't allowed to work in the capacity that they're used to. How did you survive that, and how did it affect you?
We were definitely affected. The quarantine order was sort of the day that everything changed. Of course, everybody had to stay home, but we had a lot of our orders got canceled immediately. People were a lot of uncertainty. But we did still have some business to take care of because we make our product here. We still had to be operational in some respect. So my only option was to do it myself. Now, I couldn't just do it myself. So I enlisted my wife and my 3 kids who are teenagers. One's 20, so they're older. So we called ourselves the quarantine. So we were in here for those weeks that everybody was under quarantine. We were in here doing the production. We did have some people kind of come here and there safely to work, but I'm happy to report that now we were able to, thanks to the bill that they passed, we were able to get some PPP funding, rehire our entire force, get everybody back to work. No one missed a paycheck. No one was without any money. And then now we've actually added more people to that payroll. And so we're growing now. We hired 2 people this week. We're hiring more next week. So I'm just super excited. We feel blessed to be able to be thriving in this environment, where our heart goes out to all the businesses that are still struggling, because we know there's so many. And to that end, we have programs to help them market with our products. So they'll actually print their business, their business information on here in a custom grip, and they'll give it out or mail it out to their clients. And so we've got programs out there. So if there's any businesses listening that are struggling and need help, reach out to us and we can help you promote your brand and reach and reconnect to your customers.
So there's something else I wanted to talk about too. I saw a picture that you had shared, and I'd shared this story with a couple people that I've talked to on air and then just randomly in person. But there was a mask that you had printed your smile on that. Where did you get that idea? And I love it, because that's one thing, whenever people go out, if you want to be, feel safe or be safe, take precaution, you can cover up your face, but you can't tell when people are smiling at you, and it's just like an eerie feeling.
It is. And, it was funny the night before, this was when the heat of you have to wear a mask to go in Costco, and a little bit of drama there. And we were talking about it, and I said, I don't like the masks. I was telling her, I don't like the masks. She goes, what are you trying to get people sick? And like, are you wanting to be sick? And I was like, no, I miss people's smile. Like, it's such an important part of communication, to look at someone and see their reaction on their face. You can only get so much from the eyes up. I said, I really miss that. And I was up here late, as normal one night, and I realized that we had all the equipment we needed to print a face mask. And I was wearing a white face mask that day. So I went and took a selfie, went over to the printer, to the sublimation printer, printed my face off, got it sized right, pressed it on the heat press, and then came out and put it on, and it fit perfectly. And I made the video, and it went crazy, everybody online. And there was a whole nother business I could have started, but in this thing, you really got to keep your eye on the ball and not get distracted with trying to start too many businesses. But it was just a need that I developed, had myself, to see smiles. And so I made it, and it got quite the reaction on social media.
Yeah, it did. It was really cool. But I guess that's interesting, because I tend to get distracted. If there's like a project, oh, this is great, and then something else comes along, oh, this is cool, but there's only one of me. There's only one of you. And so how do you learn to, I guess, keep your eye and stay focused on that goal?
I've learned that the hard way a lot of times. I've run after those squirrels, if you will, and ended up, sometimes you catch them, sometimes you don't, but you realize that you've just lost a bunch of ground on your main focus. And so through trial and error, I've really make myself stay focused on the plan ahead and where we're headed. And, they say, if you try to be all things to everyone, you're nothing to no one. And so, you just have to focus on what you're doing and do that, and do it to the best of your ability. If you want to do something different, then completely change your focus altogether, but try to keep your eye on the ball. It's very helpful.
So right now it's 10:22. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. It's Kickstart. My name is Gardy. I'm talking to Mike Watts. He has, multiple businesses. He also has LoveHandle. It's a cell phone holder. It's really cool. Where can somebody pick one of those up at?
If you're out and about, you can buy them. They're at all Academy Sports stores. You can get them at select Walmart stores. So there's some boutiques around here and there that have them. You can go to lovehandle.com, and there's a map if you want to shop local. There's a map on there that has the stores that currently stock our product. But of course, you can order at lovehandle.com. They're available on Amazon. We prefer you to order off our website. And we're going to make a coupon code 10% off. And we can do that, and we can make it for the call letters of your station. How about that?
That's awesome.
We'll keep that good through, let's say, July 1st.
Okay. So, yeah, if you use the code KHEA, you can save 10% on one of those. I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to make sure I edit this post and let people know as well on Facebook. But, yeah, go to lovehandle.com and you use the code KHEA, and you can save 10%. Really cool. Thank you, Mike.
Welcome.
Thank you. So how important is it getting product into stores? And I guess, how do you even do that?
Yeah, it's a real challenge. I tell people you want to take affordable steps as you move forward. You don't really want to try to get Walmart day one. You want to start ideally in your local area and then move to boutiques. Boutiques are really the ones that drive trends. And so if your product can fit in a boutique or a small shop, or start small, build some relationships, get feedback from retailers about what works, what doesn't work. And it's not just about a product, it's about packaging. It's about how do you display? How many units are on a display? How big is the display? Is it on the floor? Is it on the counter? Is it hanging on the wall? Does it have graphics on it? Does it need a video screen? Like, do you need to sample employees? Like, you need to figure out a winning combination before you move to retail. And along the way, Amazon is just such a critical piece anymore. Not so much for the profitability of it, which it can be profitable, but they do take a pretty large portion. But it's about more of a defensive measure and a credibility measure. When you go sit down with a buyer at Target or Walmart, the first thing they're going to do is look up your product on Amazon. They're going to look at the reviews, how many people are buying it. They're going to want to know your back-end sales statistics and, judge you based on that and how much competition's out there. Are you able to protect your brand? Are you able to protect your product in the marketplace? And if so, that's going to lower the risk for them in giving you some shelf space.
Okay. So there's a lot of conversations, but the first thing that they do is go and look at Amazon reviews and see who else is in that market.
Yeah, it's the most relevant information that they can get on a product.
Okay. So can we give some advice to somebody, I guess, who has an idea if they want to start a business or they're looking for the right partner or someone's looking to maintain a business? What kind of advice can you give to someone like that?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of inventors, entrepreneurs, just dreamers, if you will. And I always, again, I'll back to the affordable steps. What you want to do is prove to yourself that people want this idea. Remember that your mom probably never told you were dumb, right?
Right.
Nobody's going to, if you walk up with an ugly baby, nobody's ever going to say that baby's ugly, right?
Yeah.
No, you've got to go and be sure that you're getting really true feedback. And the best way to do that is to get a financial transaction involved, right? You can go to your friends and say, hey man, I made this thing. It's really cool. And they're like, yeah, man, that's cool. Why don't you pre-order, give me $100 and pre-order 5 of them from me right now. And you're going to get them at cost. When there's a financial transaction involved, then you're going to get an honest answer. They're going to be like, well, not really. Whether it's to your friends or to strangers or whatever, you need to make some and try to sell it and make sure that the market wants it. And then listen without an ego to the feedback you get and say, oh, I could make it better this way, or I should have done it this way or priced it this way, and take it as a learning process and one step at a time. Don't go take your idea in the way it is today, go order 10,000 or 20,000 of them and bring them in and then see if you can sell them. Sell them first, sell out first, not be able to fill the orders first, and then start scaling up.
What about whenever you hit a roadblock? I mean, there's roadblocks in life everywhere, but I imagine, starting a business and, being a startup, there's probably roadblocks everywhere. What do you do whenever you hit something that seems like I can't get over this?
Well, I would say that I flip the question back to you. If you hit that table on the way out of the studio and fall on the ground, what are you going to do?
It depends. If anybody can hear me cry for help.
Right. You have an option. You can lay there in the fetal position and weep and feel sorry for yourself, or you can just get back up and keep moving. And it's really that simple. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get beat up. Things are going to happen. They're going to cost money. They're going to cost time. They're going to cost market share. Who knows? But that's normal. And so knowing that going in, that you're going to get knocked down, and the differentiating factor, that time between the time you get knocked down to the time you get back up and get to full speed again, that is the most important factor of success in my mind, because you are showing your resiliency and your dedication and your commitment to the vision of where you're headed, and that you will not be denied. And if you keep that up and never stop with that attitude and that action, then you are guaranteed success.
I love it. Mike, is there anything else you'd like to share today or remind people?
Just, enjoy the ride. Look around start every day with gratitude, because as you get through this, having a positive outlook is going to be so important. So be thankful for, the fact that you were born, if you're in America and you're listening to this, that you were born in America, in a place that believes in that you can be anything that you aspire to be, if you're willing to do the work and try hard and work harder than everyone else. And so just start with gratitude, put in the effort and time, and then, just enjoy the ride.
Well, thank you for hanging out. And just a reminder, if you go to lovehandle.com, use the code KHEA, and you said it was 10% for all month long?
10% through July 1st, yep.
All right. So make sure you go do that.
If anybody wants to connect with me directly, I do coach entrepreneurship. I do a lot of it just for free on the side. So just feel free to connect with me at Mike Watts on Instagram. I'll answer DMs or whatever. So if people have questions, they can reach out to me too.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much, Harvey.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM.